Hello, everybody. Welcome to Comedy and Crumpets. Thank you for joining us again. I'm Dylan Mandlsohn, and today is a very special day for Comedy and Crumpets. My esteemed partner in crime, Pat Treuer, could not be here today, but I am very, very happy and excited to have a very good friend of mine, Adeela, here. This is a big moment for me because I truly appreciate Adeela for coming on the show. We've been friends for a very long time, and I coaxed her to do this, and I'm very excited that she agreed to come aboard on this. And Blair Woods, oh my God, hi Blair Woods. And so Adeela, welcome to Comedy and Crumpets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've always really appreciated Adeela because I learn a lot from her. I really enjoy learning a lot from Adeela. I find her to be very smart and funny, and so I've always been a little biased. I think that she should be a stand-up comedian.
Oh my God, you're setting the stakes so high.
Yeah, I know. This is just going to be the greatest show ever. Hello, Tresh. Just drive-by highs. Yay, welcome Adeela. So excited for today. Blair, thank you. It's very good. But I would say one of the things that I really do appreciate about Adeela is that she puts up with me. I'm going to be honest. She you do a really good job doing that. I wanted to start off by a really good example of this is because I should tell you that Adeela is a budding writer, and one time we attempted to join a short story comedy workshop where we did that, right? And I came up with I'm lying, everybody. It never happened. No. You brought to my attention this comedy workshop, and
the short film one. Yeah.
So there's a short film comedy workshop. Adeela asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I said yes. And we needed to come up with a compelling character, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I came up with. Here's the thing you need to understand. Like Adeela she cares about her work, and I would say you're like a perfectionist type of a person, right?
Right.
But
I'm a what kind of perfectionist?
A perfectionist, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you might feel like you're hard on yourself because I presented a story and you thought you were being like hard on me with it, but really it was the worst story I ever
Fishhead. I remember Fishhead.
Yeah, it was. I came up. I thought this would be a compelling story. It's half a mermaid, half a man, but it's like switched. So it's just like this giant.
The Little Mermaid and reversed it.
That's right. So it's like a trout with human legs.
Yeah, and he falls in love with the most beautiful mermaid, right? But she's kind of really callous.
Yeah, the mermaid is callous. So Fishhead, who I think I called Gil, seeks out this sorceress who he can turn him back into. Have I lost the audience already? Because this is what she's putting up with. We were on the phone for like 2.5 hours, and I'm just pitching.
How seriously I took it though, like real hardcore.
Yeah, it was. But I thought you did really great because I'm over here going, Fishhead, man. This is gold. Half mermaid, half man, but reversed. And I was picturing this half fish just going, I'm looking for love.
Wait, why did it fail ultimately? I don't remember.
Why did it fail ultimately? Because our story was horrible.
Why didn't it work?
I don't.
Because she was like, you don't understand the pressures of being so beautiful.
Yeah. Because your point was this movie is a little cliche because the story essentially is Fishhead goes to meet this beautiful sorceress who I think she wanted something, but then eventually,
she was in love with the really hideous mermaid of her own tribe or something.
That's right. She was.
But she couldn't get a date. Remember?
Yeah, she couldn't get a date. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is coming to Netflix very
good.
soon. But anyway, you put up with me, like, so to anyone, like, you can hear the story right now, and you can just hear, like, oh my God, like half fish, half man, seeking out love. But it just became kind of a cliched kind of a movie. It was just like, Beauty and the Beast, and Notre Dame kind
So
of,
you cut
right?
out.
What am I saying? The what of Notre Dame?
Oh, the Hunchback.
Did I just lose you? Anyway, it was really cliche and goofy. So, but anyway, I really like, I enjoy a lot that you put up with me, and I learn a lot. Adeela, she is. I always like you. You kind of came into my life when I I wanted to, like, learn about things that were bigger than me, or like thoughts that were bigger than me. Like, for example, like astrology, law of attraction kind of a stuff. I wanted to subscribe. I
You
thought I might want to.
manifested. You
Yeah,
manifested.
that's right. So Adeela is, I think, a very, very knowledgeable with this stuff. And if any of you guys have any questions about it, I would take advantage of it, not to put her on the spot, but I think that, she's excellent at fielding these sort of things. Because, and I've talked about astrology here before. I've talked about stuff. Yeah, it's fish head sound. Oh, we got a couple of comments here. Kane, can you let some of these go? This would be good. We got a few here. We got some Blair Woods. We got Ray Turner here. Kane, are you able to let some of that go? We got Kane, high in the sky. Ray Turner.
Oh,
Gil, the fish head sounds like one of the HP Lover's Craft, Innsmouth deep ones.
that's a big compliment. Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
That's like a very classic writer.
Yeah, I have no idea what that comment meant. So I'm really happy that you took that well. And then we got Blair Woods. Okay, so clearly we know that Adeela is the brains behind your friendship. It's true. Good evening, guys. Thank you.
Hi.
Yes, that's absolutely wonderful. Yes, thank you. Welcome to the show. Good evening. But yeah, I think I have, like, what I like to perceive tough questions when it comes to, like, law of attraction stuff and how manifesting actually works. But Adeela, I think, has been very good at answering those questions for me. Yeah, it's been crazy, And it's funny because we were thinking about topics to talk about today, and Adeela suggested toxic masculinity, which I think is kind of, it's a little of a jarring word. I always thought that, like, just to say it sounds a little jarring, I always thought that you need to soften it. I can't think of a better voice than Mrs. Doubtfire,
If you're
really.
saying it sounds jarring, imagine being on the other end of it.
Yeah, being on the other end of it. But I just think toxic masculinity, dear, is the only way you can say it to make everyone feel comfortable, don't you think? I don't know. It just kind of hit me that way.
And then we found out that today is the International Internet. What is it? I sent you that text, and I was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea what today actually was." And
it's International Man's Day. Is that right?
Yeah. So how appropriate.
Yeah, how appropriate. We need more days for that. I think toxic masculinity, here's my stance. Where is it, and where can we get more of it?
You know what I don't understand? Like, we have International Women's Day on March 8th. That's one day. 364 days are already men's days. Why do we need today? Why do we need today?
It's interesting. Like, you're right. And this is the thing. Adeela is, you can possibly tell, just she's very passionate about this, and rightfully so. And I remember I was in Los Angeles, and I was about to do a gig with Norm Macdonald, and the women's just had their march. I don't remember if I ever told you this story. So I'm about to go out on stage, and I say to Norm, with all, like, the big women's movement, I said, "Do you think this would be a joke if I went on stage and said, yeah, here, we're from Canada. I didn't realize that, like, what was going on with all the women's march. So I showed up with a handful of beads."
Beads?
Yeah. You get it? Because it's like Mardi Gras. and I just wanted them to. And that, yeah, it didn't go over as well as I wanted, but no, it was good.
You gotta
Yeah.
love it.
So I think we have a question from Blair Woods here. Kane, can you release some Blair Woods? Do we have that? Adeela, are Aquarians good people? No. Let's continue. Let's move on. Elder good people.
Of
So
course, they're great people. I love Aquarians.
Oh, Hugh James says, so we can, oh, this is in regards to why we have International Man's Day, so we can mention we are superior for one day.
But what about the other, what are you doing the other 364 days? I thought that's already going on.
Yeah. Oh, it is, baby.
Yeah. No, Aquarians are not bad people.
Aquarians are not bad people. Yeah. Yeah.
Humanitarians and kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We got some good comments here. Adeela, you're bringing out good people here. It's worth Ray Turner, who's from England. Adeela Ray, who's a constant tuner inner guy to the show. Mm-hmm. Says it's worth knowing about International Man's Day to throw back in the faces of the morons who bleat about when do we get a day. Every damn year when International Women's Day turns up. It's true. When do we get a day? Every day is Women's Day. Children. Yeah. But yeah, you know, Aquarians. Is it? Yeah. I mean, I'm Libra, and I don't know exactly what that fully means. But that's the thing, though, right? Because it can mean different things to different people. And this is one thing that I learned from Adeela.
Just your son is a Libra, though. You're not. Your
just
son
my son is a Libra. So if anybody here can, really grasp the understandings of what astrology is in its roundest sense, we have a sun sign. Mine is Libra. We have a rising sign, right? We have a moon sign. We have things that are shifting around in different houses. Adeela knows all about this. So the fact that, when you ask, are Aquarians good people? Well, some can be and some aren't. It just depends if your moon's in Cancer. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Yeah.
Your nephew is Sun in Libra, Moon in Cancer.
Say that again?
My nephew, the one who was just born, his sun is in Libra and his moon. No, I'm wrong. I'm just wrong. I'm just going to retract that.
Yeah, just retract that. Yeah, we need more women in power.
I agree with Blair.
Yeah, you agree with Blair here? Yes, we need more women in power. Do you think that? Well, here's the thing, though. Like, women have gained, I would say, a lot of power in the.
And you're just like, let's just stop it here. Let's just. That's it. Not enough. Right? That's what you're about to say.
No, wait. What did you think I was going to say?
We've had a lot of women in power. I mean, that's.
What does it mean? What does it mean when people say Mars is in retrograde?
So planets don't actually move backwards. Nothing does. It just looks like that because it's slowing down so much. So when we look up, it looks like it's going backwards. So that's what retrograde means. Retro means back, like the past. So when Mars is in retrograde, it means, or any planet, it just means it's slowing down. It's at a point in its orbit where, like, it's a lot slower than usual, right? Because if you think about the orbit, it's circular. So based on where it is, it's picking up momentum.
So what kind of effect would that have on people, or is it just like it's different for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on what it's highlighting in your own chart, but generally, if it's Mars, Mars is a planet of action and war. So if it's retrograde, it's like it's asking you to slow down with those like Martian impulses to fight and to be provocative and combative, and so it just ended its retrograde actually.
Mars ended in retrograde.
Yeah, it's been for a few months.
So where is it? Where are we going? Where are we going next?
Well, it's in Aries. It's in its home sign.
Okay, so that might be a
It's
good
just
thing.
now, yeah. So now it's going to go pick up its usual pace and go direct, which means things might get explosive.
Things could get explosive. Well, given where, where the world is right now, I mean, obviously what's dominating news would be what's going on in America. We have, I'm not really into what's going on with the rest of the world right now, but do you see that as like a good thing, or is astrology predicting catastrophic things? Or, right now, think of it this way. We just got rid of Trump. COVID's on the brink of getting its vaccine. Is astrology got a curveball for us?
I think it's lightening up in 2021, but I think there's a couple of big events happening in December that astrologers are bracing for.
Are they worried about Christmas?
Sorry?
Worried about Christmas?
Well, yeah, I mean, people can't gather, right?
Say that again?
People can't really gather, so.
That's true, but I mean, I'm just wondering, like, it seems like we're putting the catastrophe behind us. Like COVID, maybe we're seeing a light at the end of this tunnel. Trump's going to be out of office. Hopefully, things will get restored back to a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more normal, not so crazy and dealing with crazy tweets from the world's strongest powered person, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the worst is over, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm just eternally optimistic, so.
Sure. Well, and it's interesting. Like, I know that in the past it was sailors rely on astrology, right? For
Farmers,
sailors.
anybody who worked with the land.
And now people are using it to get laid, which I think is
a huge advancement.
It's a huge advancement
in
astrology.
Yeah.
Before it was about crops.
What it was intended for, though, by the ancients.
Say that again?
I think that's what it was intended for, its original purpose. And,
was love.
Getting laid. Not even love.
Just getting laid. Just like, hey, you a Taurus? Let's do this.
Yeah. We've nailed it. Nailed it.
Yep.
I didn't see that.
What's that?
I didn't see the last comment. Did you see that? Oh, okay.
I agree. Eternally optimistic is the way to go. Yeah. Blair is a regular to our show too, and is always a pretty upbeat, happy person.
It's the only way to be.
It's the only way to be. It's the only way to be. Obviously, you and I, or not obviously, but we talk about comedy, and I love your insights into comedy too. Like I said, I think I would love for you to do comedy because Adeela, in my opinion, does have a great point of view. I've spent my comedy career trying to find my point of view, going through, and I'm still trying to find it. I'll be honest with you. But I think that you would actually move a lot quicker than I would because you have a point of view, and then you would just have to hone the funny in it. But there's comedy is a very masculine dominated industry.
Male dominated. Comedy itself is not masculine, but
no, male dominated. You see how careful you have to be these days? I just got canceled. Yeah. Well, you keep me on straight and narrow, and I always appreciate that because I gain a sensitivity learning from you like that, because even if I just use the wrong words, I learn the right verbiage to use. Right? When I was on stage, I used to call all females girls. Oh, man, girls this, girls that. Yeah, and you're like, why not women? Women. That's what we are. Hi, I'm a woman, not a girl. Yeah. Girls are under the age of majority. Okay, those are girls. I'm a woman, and I was like, okay, and it was difficult for me to make that transition on stage within the jokes that I had already written, where I say the word girl, because I just repeated it and practiced it for so long that it just felt a little rhythmically off to add even just the extra syllable. Not because I'm actually just very chauvinistic, but no, just but I appreciated that. You said that when you listen to comedians on stage and they refer to females as girls, you're like, he's a bit of a douchebag. He's probably a douchebag. I don't know how fair that is per se, but it opened my eyes to it too. And I was just like, okay, because I mean, I know I use girls, and I don't feel like I put all women in that, you know, like I don't know, less than.
If you're doing a character, it's fine, right? If that's just how you speak, then what are you? Are you just a boy?
I like to think I'm a guy. I wouldn't feel offended if, you know, someone's a man, because Hugh Janus said, "I'm a shy, timid, introverted Aries. Do I break the mold?"
Absolutely.
That's a good question.
You do. And I bet you have like a water or earth in your moon arising, because most Aries are brash and blunt. And yeah.
That's interesting. Or
that's just your sun sign. It's just not the whole picture.
Right. Obviously, there's a lot more to being just an Aries, because you have a moon sign, a rising sign, stuff like that. But is there also environmental factors? I mean, you know, it may be. I mean, I like to think so. Here's how I do it. I go, astrology is the third, is like the outer circle of reading a person. Then getting closer would be psychology, and then at the center would be spirituality.
Right. I kind of see it all as one.
You see it all as one. I have a difficult time seeing it all as one, because I think sometimes the characteristics and qualities of a sign are not bound to that actual person. For example, Hugh Janus, who's clearly shy because that's not his real name. So, you know, I would say that, okay, well, if you're an Aries, but you're exhibiting characteristics and qualities that are not like an Aries, then I go closer into the psychology of him.
No, but,
and then
but that's the reason, but that's modified by the other planets and stuff. It's like you're painting with too broad a brush.
So you're saying that psychology and astrology can come to the same conclusion?
Well, Carl Jung, who was, you know, the founder of modern psychoanalysis, used astrology on patients that he found just were, you know, he had no idea how to help them. He writes about it, which is a lot of people don't know, but he was basically a student of Freud, and then he split off from Freud and is, you know, huge, like, so he used astrology too, and he was a medical doctor.
That's interesting, because I would say that, see, I would like to know more about astrology in that way, because I think that there's certain things astrology can't explain. I think an Aries covers their real emotions.
Yeah.
Do Aries really cover their real emotions? I don't know. Is that a common?
Well,
Aries?
it depends, right? Like I feel like they don't tread with a ton of sensitivity to other people. They can have emotional outbursts, but sometimes I find, and I hate to speak generally, I'm just saying, like, these are tendencies of that archetype. I'm not saying all Aries are like this, but I find there's a bit of impulsiveness and defensiveness and like emotions masking other things.
I mean, but then, okay, from a psychological standpoint, anger is a much easier emotion to deal with than sadness. So, so whether we look at Aries as being, let's say, hot-headed and, you know, or aggressive in some guys, they could just be dealing with sadness, but it's manifesting in anger because it's an easier emotion to deal with. That is psychology, not astrology. I might say that to you.
Astrology is used to describe psychological states, because if you understand what all the signs represent, they all represent different aspects of the mind in some senses, like, and different functions and expressions. Like Gemini and Sag, for instance, that's the axis of like mental illness.
Gemini and Sagittarius.
Yeah, because it has to do with knowledge and mind activity. Like Gemini is all about, it's ruled by Mercury, which is the thinker, the trickster, the thinker. And Sag is all about the pursuit of wisdom and philosophy. So those are both extremes of the same, like, pursuit of knowledge. which
Wait a
can
second.
drive you insane.
Okay, but wait. So you're saying if someone is a Gemini or someone is a Sagittarius, they're like what, more susceptible to mental illness?
Like I wouldn't say that. I would just say that
My dad's a Sagittarius. I would totally subscribe to this.
yeah.
No, my dad's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I find, yeah, I maybe more so Gemini. And it also depends where it is, like if it's your sun or your moon or your rising or what
Right,
planet.
right. Because again, your sun sign might not be Gemini or Sag, but you could have it in your moon or your rising.
Personal planets like Venus and Mercury, those are personal planets.
So this is the point that I think is really interesting. Can you explain what your sun sign represents, what your moon sign represents, and what your rising sign represents? Because I think that could be really, I found that to be really helpful when you told me when you find out what your moon sign is, what your rising sign is, and what that represents.
So I would say your sun is like your life, overall life purpose, drive, energy, like who you are during the day, what gives you energy are the things, that relate to the sun sign. So for instance, I'm a Capricorn and you would say I'm pretty Capricornish in like my ambitions and work ethic. So that's my sun sign. But then your moon sign is more your instinctual reactions, the stuff you don't really understand or have a good grasp of, like how you react in relationships sometimes is really, really governed by your moon. Your rising is like your mask. So how you present to other people. A lot of people meet me and they think I'm an extrovert. I know I don't seem extroverted right now, but I can really come across as an extrovert because my rising is Gemini, which is really talkative, asks a lot of questions, very social, but I'm not at all an extrovert.
So in other words, so like your sun sign, so I'm a Libra, that's going to represent kind of the not necessarily what is it this is who I am. My moon sign is what I yearn for. So that, like, let's say my moon sign, which is Cancer.
Your moon sign is like how you are instinctually, like
how I am instinctually,
like how you are with your emotions. How it often describes your relationship with your mother, because the moon is your, the archetypal mother.
Okay.
It's like it's how you relate to other people. Sometimes is your moon sign on an intimate level. Yeah. I feel it's it's more hidden. Like your moon sign, you don't show it to everybody.
Okay. And your rising sign, you're saying that's your mask. That's like what you show other people. So if my moon sign is, which I think mine's in Scorpio, I'm going to almost present Scorp energy.
Your rising.
My rising. Yeah. I'm gonna present. If people know all about Scorpio, let's say the whole world was just that.
But the Scorpio is a very difficult one to have. Not difficult, but it's a hard one to categorize because they're so different. Like each Scorpio I meet, like they're the mysterious sign that you can't really.
When Hugh said that he suppresses his emotions or he masks it, I think that's Scorpio. I think Scorpio is. Comment from Hugh Janis, right? And he was saying that here April K. How do you figure out your rising sign?
You just Google rising sign calculator or birth chart calculator. Like there's so many. I like AstroSeek, Cafe Astrology. There's so many. Just go with the top 3 or 4 Google hits. You just Google them.
Yeah, at the risk of bombarding Adeela here, I would say she's an excellent source for this.
But you do need birth time for your rising. If you don't know your time, you can't figure that out.
You need to know the time of your birth.
For the rising, not so much
for the rising.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, and I find that really interesting. But again, I still, using, again, Hugh as an example, if he were to come to me and say, I'm really shy, but I'm an Aries, and I understand like how to break out of that, I might more get to know him on a psychological level rather than like get deeper into his chart.
Look at the rest of your chart. That's what
you would go astrology. You would go deeper into astrology, whereas I would go into.
And then I would ask questions about your upbringing and stuff. Yeah, because for me, it's a shortcut.
Astrology is a shortcut.
Yeah, because
So
it'll inform what kinds of questions I'll ask, you
yeah.
know? So,
Now, here's another thing that you brought up once that I thought was really accurate about like why learn about astrology. I mean, it is pseudoscience. It's difficult to approve or sorry, it's difficult to prove that it's real because I don't know if there's that much math to it. But what you said I thought was really smart. Was I find that the more astrology I learn, the more empathy I have for other people. When I learn that someone, what's that?
and yourself.
And myself. Exactly. So if I'm beating myself up because, let's say, for example, I start projects a lot, but I rarely finish them. And I'm like, man, I rarely finish them. And I realize that's a cardinal sign. That a cardinal sign
Yeah.
is, you know, is to Libra.
Aries, Cancer, Capricorn.
That's right. Aries. Say that one more time. So cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I did and then being aware of that, I don't think I'm bound to that characteristic or quality. I can change that.
No, your chart is not a sentence. Like none of it is, you know, unmovable. Like none of it is something you can't overcome.
Yeah.
You're not bound by it.
Yeah. So that's it. So, you know, if anyone asks like why even learn about astrology, I would say for that reason alone is because the fact that it creates empathy for other people and your own self, I think is wonderful. It's a wonderful way of growing. So you want to know something? But we're actually over our time right now.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone. I wanted to say, and I didn't want this to be confronting for Adeela. This is her very first time in this kind of public forum, and I'm really honored that you came on to this in front of all both of our viewers. But everyone, that is we have to wrap things up. But I still have a fun fact or two that I'd like to close out on. I don't know if you did this. Did you know? I read this fun fact that going to work is more dangerous than going to war. You believe that? Yeah.
Work happens every day and war doesn't.
Yeah, but what's your work? Like poison tester? Like what are your? I mean, like what are you?
I mean, just the risk of getting in your car every day if you commute.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I read this as a funny. I don't know. I thought you know that a juror in a quadruple murder trial was caught and discharged for playing Sudoku. He got caught. This guy was bored. He's playing Sudoku. He's like, I'm sorry. Is there not enough murders in this trial to keep your attention, man? It's like, this is what happens when you watch too much Netflix.
Yeah.
It's not cool. But anyway, Adeela, I really want to thank you so much for joining Comedy and Crumpets. Next week, Pat Treuer will be back, and I'm really honored. I think I love learning about this stuff. Adeela is very smart and wonderful to talk to about not just this, but amongst other things. And I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. I want to thank everybody else for tuning in. Thank you so much.
You for your comments.
Yeah. It was great. So we'll be back here next week, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. UK time. And thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.